Peace and blessings. Welcome to another edition of Real Life with Real Talk. I'm your girl, Real Talk Tiff.
I'm Yurima Karama.
In today's episode, we are going to explore some options, some resources, some solutions on how we can deal with these countrywide episodes of violence. I just posted the other day that there's been more than 350 mass shootings in this country alone, which equates to almost one a day since the year has not ended yet. Then the rampant violence against civilians by law enforcement. We still have civilians taking the law into their own hands and trying to enforce or police their neighbors. So what can we do? What as the average person without a law degree, without law enforcement training, what can we do? How do we protect ourselves and our children?
Well, I think first and foremost, neighborhoods, communities have to start coming together. And this can be done in the form of community forums. This can be done and it should be. I mean, we have to. One of the non-solutions is to continue staying divided in communities, and these communities. I'm talking white, black, Hispanic, mixed communities. We have to start enforcing community forums, workshops, group meetings where we sit down and actually discuss. We may even have community boards where we discuss and go through how our communities are going to be governed, how we're going to get our children back to and from school.
Right.
I mean, these things can be as small as making sure that our parents are being there for PTA meetings, all the way up to community watch groups. So I think those are a few of the things coming together as communities. We're so divided, and then we always want to come together when there's a funeral, but it's too late.
It's easy to do that, coming together for the funerals. It's not much harder to type up, "Hey neighbor, neighborhood barbecue this Saturday, next Saturday. Here's my number, call me, text me with what you think you can bring, and we'll get out here and have an opportunity to meet each other, talk to each other. Okay, it's winter. We can't have a barbecue, so to speak, but we have a local recreation center. We have a neighborhood library just a couple blocks away.
Yep. So
let's get together for a winter get-together to just talk about what's going on in the neighborhood."
Absolutely.
You know, as simple as, is everybody shoveling their walk so that our kids are not walking in the street?
Right.
You know, it's not hard.
Exactly.
But for some reason, we've developed this fear of knocking on the door of a stranger who lives just 2 doors down.
Yes.
You know, a lot of us as parents are letting our kids play in these neighborhoods, and you don't know who's behind the door watching your child out there. That scares me more than knocking on somebody's door and saying, "Hey, my name's Tiff. I live 2 doors down. You've seen my boys and my daughter up and down the sidewalk. I just wanted to get to know you because we're here."
Yeah. We have to engage. Two major developments that I'm really paying attention to. I mean, we just had the 2 mass shootings just days ago. One in San Bernardino, California, and then we had the one prior to that at Planned Parenthood in Colorado. But then we have Chicago.
Yes.
And we have Laquan McDonald's, and now we have, I think his name is Ronald Holmes. And what is so prevalent about both of these cases is the video cam footage of them being shot. I know in the case of Laquan McDonald, there was a settlement made to the family prior to
anything being released, right?
Yeah, prior to the investigation even being complete. But in this newest case that came out, this shooting apparently happened 8 days prior to Laquan McDonald with the same circumstances. The video didn't come out. They tried to offer the mother a settlement. The mother just got on recently and said, I'm not taking the money because it's dirty money. She said, I watched the video. The police are trying to say that my son turned and had a gun. She said, I watched the video. That's just not true. So I'm not taking the settlement because it's dirty money. It can't bring my son back. And so when we talk about community involvement, community forums, when we talk about petitioning, this is another form that we have to do, petition.
Yes.
When we talk about and we also have to give as much energy to crime in our neighborhood as we do to police committing crime against our citizens. But these are all things that, unless we're engaged, unless we're reaching out to one another, they're never going to be solved. We can ask for police body cams all we want, but if the police are turning the body cams off during stops and we're not addressing that issue, they're going to continue doing it. So, but we can also talk about the mass killings in our own communities, citizen on citizen. We have to address these issues. We have to address them, and again, we're not addressing them until it's too late, till somebody's dead.
And that's why I appreciate you starting with the gathering of the neighborhoods getting together and working with each other, getting our kids to school safely. I know that with the way the economy is, in some places things are better, but in most places, single parent homes, moms are working 2 jobs, dads are working 2nd and 3rd shift. So even if there's 2 parents in the homes, they don't see each other because everybody needs to have 2 jobs just to get by. Somebody needs to make sure that kids aren't being left behind and forgotten. If there's no one home to make sure they're getting up, getting some warm breakfast and out the door on time, these kids may not even be going to school. All the opportunity for wrong, crime, bad behavior, anything could happen if no one's there to just get the kids to school.
Yeah.
And then on the back end of it, school programs have been cut.
Yeah.
There may still be some school sports, but all of the things that we had available to us when we got out of school growing up are pretty much gone.
Yeah.
And there's no one at home either.
Exactly.
So who's making sure the homework is getting done, they're staying on top of their schoolwork, that they are doing something constructive with themselves when they get out of school, because mom and or dad is still at work or on their way to 2nd job and I haven't even seen you. Kids are having to make their own meals, so on and so forth. So, I know once upon a time there were more than one generation in the house. Kids, parents, grandparents. In some areas, there are still moms who are at home. Maybe, get together as a neighborhood and talk to the ones who are home, the elderly who's home, the moms who are already home, and come together and form some kind of a village where somebody is making sure these kids are getting to school and getting off the buses and walking home from school and having something to do.
Yeah, absolutely. But even more so than that, what makes this so prevalent that we get together as communities is that we're taxpayers.
True.
Which means that we can enforce some things. We can petition. If the politicians, who most times don't do their jobs, but if they're not doing their jobs, it's our job to get them out of office and get somebody in there who will do their job. I personally, our children, we need to have policies in place at our schools right now, because Lord forbid there's another mass shooting. Mass shootings are happening every day. There's at least one a day.
Every day.
There's at least one a day. So we need to make sure that there is security in place at our schools. We need to make sure that monies are being directed. Monies are being directed to the communities where it's most prevalent. We know that there are certain communities that are going to get more than others. It's unfortunate, but that's the way it is.
True.
But there are certain things that we have to do as communities. We can't always depend on others or wait on others, because if we play the waiting game, we will be Johnny last at the table because the waiting game doesn't work. So it's time that we tend to step up and take our place in the affairs of men, because otherwise we're going to get left behind as poor, impoverished communities. But more importantly, we also have to be aware. We have to be aware of surroundings. We have to be aware of who's in office. We have to be aware of what policies are being put in place, because those policies will and can affect us, our children. Yes. We have to be aware when we're out at the mall now. Yes. We have to be watching. We have to be vigilant and paying attention.
Absolutely.
It's unfortunate, but it's real.
And we've touched on a few different ones. I know everything is not for everyone, but if there's just one thing that you can personally do, if there is a petition that you can put together and you don't mind knocking on doors to get it signed for your school district, for your buses that are picking kids up on the corner of your neighborhood, are they watching the kids come and go? I've seen buses that don't even have students in the neighborhood stop to put kids off for fighting, but there's no follow through. You just put two belligerent children into the street and then left because you didn't want to deal with them on your bus. So who has to deal with that? That now falls on the neighborhood.
Exactly.
You know, and
exactly.
But I was saying, everything is not for everyone. Maybe you're politically inclined. Maybe you know how to call and talk to the mayors and the district, whoever. If that's your thing, do that. And then whatever your thing is, find someone younger than you, mentor them, and help them find their thing and get involved too. Because leaders create leaders. We need that.
Another thing too that's very important, and you know me, I'm going to get on them. The church. There's all these churches in the community. Pastors, you're taking tithes. Many of you are driving very nice. Many of you are living very nice. Get out and do something, man. Get out and do something.
Come from down off that pulpit and get down there with your parishioners and walk with them in their situations. Don't be so far removed in your holy walk that you forget who it is you're supposed to be walking for. Right.
I challenge each one of them. If you say you're about that life, if you want to bring Jesus' name up, really study who he was. Really study who he was. If you want to, since you want to spout his name out of your mouth so much, really study who he was and what he was about and what he demonstrated. So, you know, there's a church in every community, but you're not saving lives. So, I mean, what are you there for?
In my neighborhood alone, there are 8 churches within 2 blocks in any direction. 2 of them have a regular food pantry throughout the spring, summer, and fall. Okay. The rest of them, I may or may not even see their doors open, let alone out there doing anything for what's happening in the community.
But do they have the Jaguar or the Benz parked in front on Sundays?
I mean, you know, we ride nice out here worshiping the Lord.
Right.
Yeah. But really, whatever your thing is, there's a way to use your gifts, your talents, to come together and make change happen. Whether you focus on getting the kids together and cutting down that petty crime in the neighborhood from unattended children, whether it's talking to the leadership in your city, in your state, whatever. Even if it's just supporting Black-owned businesses. Right there in your neighborhood, so that you are growing your neighborhoods to look the way you want them to. There's so many things that we can do if someone is willing to step up and do it.
Absolutely.
And that's real life with real talk. Peace and blessings.
Peace.